Hi, this is Miss Melton, and today I'm going to talk to you about some special types of figurative language. And the first type is proverbs, and these are sayings that, like little bits of wisdom that have been passed down um, through ages in different areas that have a meaning that kind of everybody knows about. So here is some proverbs, and we're going to kind of fill in the blank. See if you know these. A blank in time saves nine. A stitch in time saves nine. So like a stitch is something small. Too many cooks spoil the blank. Too many cooks spoil the broth. This is a proverb about kind of having like too many cooks in the kitchen make the broth bad. What's good for the blank is good for the gander. And that is goose. And what's good for the goose, that's one person, and a gander is a flock of geese. So what's good for one is good for the whole group. A rolling blank gathers no moss. A rolling stone gathers no moss. So if you keep going, and you never like stop to smell the flowers, then you're not going to gather moss or have good things happen. Where there's blank, there's fire. And where there's smoke, there's fire. That kind of says, like, if you see something that seems like it might be something else, then it probably is. So those are some famous proverbs. Maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't, but they've been told over time, hundreds of years, and kind of has stuck in the language that they don't actually mean what they say. They kind of are a window into some wisdom of the past. Birds of a blank flock together. Birds of a feather flock together, meaning if you have the same feathers, you're one type, then you stay together. So you should stay with people that are kind of have your same beliefs or things you're interested in. They kind of go together. People who live in blank houses shouldn't throw stones. So people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, because if you throw a stone in a glass house, you probably will break the glass and break the whole house. So it's kind of saying, like, don't criticize someone else because people could criticize you. Still blank, run deep. Still waters. So kind of showing that even though it looks calm on the surface, there's lots of things going on underneath. So kind of like don't judge a book by its cover, kind of. A blank in the hand is worth two in the bush. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. So one in your hand is worth two in the bush because you can actually use the bird in your hand, like for food or whatever you need it for. So it's better to have one in the hand than two far away in the bush. It's not going to help you. Every blank has a silver lining. Every cloud has a silver lining, and that kind of is always trying to find the good in something bad, that even though a cloud can seem bad and stormy weather, there still is something good in it, and that is the silver lining. So, strike while do you know which one it is? It is the iron is hot. So you want to make sure while the iron's hot, that's when you want to use it. So it's kind of saying make sure you do what you should do, what you need to do right when the iron is hot. Don't wait too long. A penny saved is a penny earned. So when you save a penny, you've earned it, and you can like save your money, save your time. It doesn't have to be just money, but it can mean lots of things to save. The pen is mightier than the sword. That means that swords can cut you, but so can words. Not an actual pen, but the words that the pen makes can be hurtful and harmful. And don't bite the hand that feeds you. This is a proverb that says, don't, the people that do things for you don't need to criticize or be mean to them, like bite them, quote unquote bite them. You're not actually biting them, but maybe you don't want to put down the person that's giving you food or giving you things that you need. You want to be kind to them. Now I'm going to go over idioms, which are another type of figurative language. Similar to Proverbs show more wisdom, whereas idioms are more sayings that you've probably heard that don't actually mean what they're saying. Like, have you seen pigs fly? That's an idiom. when pigs fly. The English language can be very frustrating, especially for speakers of other languages. For example, have you ever heard someone say, "Stop pulling my leg"? Was the person speaking literally, meaning that their foot was really being pulled, or are they speaking figuratively? Well, they're speaking figuratively. Stop pulling my leg means like stop joking or kidding around with me. That is an idiom. They were speaking figuratively, so what does that mean? In the English language, we call these types of phrases idioms. These are phrases that don't really mean what they say, but really mean something else. You may have heard the saying, "It's raining cats and dogs." So instead of with your partner, think about what does that phrase actually mean? Does it mean it's really raining cats and dogs? No, it means that it's raining really, really hard. But everybody knows that saying because you've heard it before. When you tell someone to stop pulling your leg, you're really saying, "Stop trying to fool me." Now, let's look at the official definition, and you can record it in your notes. Idiom is commonly used phrase that does not use the literal meaning of words. So, let's practice. Which of the following is an idiom? She is big as a house. Is that an idiom? Nope, that is a simile. He is like a tornado. Nope, that's a simile. I've got ants in my pants. That's an idiom because we've heard that saying, ants in my pants, like you can't sit still. You got ants in your pants. You don't really have ants in your pants. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. That is hyperbole. We've used that before. That was a piece of cake. That is an idiom. That's a saying that people have said over and over again. And you know, if something is a piece of cake, it means it was super easy. It wasn't actually a piece of cake, even though you probably want it to be. I can't make heads or tails of this. That is also an idiom. It means you can't understand of it like a coin has a heads or tails. You know the top and the bottom is one or the other, and it's kind of confusing you. So you say, "I can't make heads or tails of this." Now, this is the website you will have on the next part of the module to do the practice part, but you can review this anytime you need to. I would make sure you know each an idiom, proverb, and adage, but proverbs and adages kind of go side by side. So let's review them. Idiom, adages, and proverbs are types of common expressions and sayings that have meaning beyond what can be understood by their individual words. An idiom is an expression common to a particular culture that does not mean what it literally says. You've learned the meaning of idioms just like you learn the meaning of words. For example, the idiom "to play it by ear" means to do something without planning. A proverb is a statement of practical wisdom expressed in a simple way. An example of a proverb is "beauty is skin deep," which means that someone's appearance doesn't tell you what he or she is really like. An adage is a well-known proverb that has been used for a long time. An example of an adage would be "actions speak louder than words," which means that doing something is more effective than just talking about it. Adages and proverbs are so closely related that the terms are often used interchangeably. And I often think an adage you can find in many cultures across the world for centuries, where proverb might be like there's Chinese proverbs, there's English proverbs, there's different types of proverbs for certain areas that might not be across overall, but an adage would be something everyone has heard before. So now on the next page, you're going to click on the idioms and read and then click practice. And I want you to do the practice on that page and write down the idioms that you have found interesting. These are different ways to figure out the meaning of an idiom. Sometimes you can find hints by reading around the idiom. Look at the words leading up to the underlined idiom. After hours of gardening, Mia was tired. She decided to call it a day, so she put her tools away and went inside the house. From the context, you can tell that "call it a day" means to stop or finish something, because then she put her tools away and went inside. So you can use context clues to help you if you don't know an idiom already. Sometimes an idiom can be found in a dictionary under its main word. The main word in the underlined idiom is thumb. "I am all thumbs today," she said with a sigh. At the end of the dictionary entry for thumb, you can see the idiom "all thumbs" means awkward or clumsy. Finally, sometimes you have to just ask for the meaning of an idiom. As you learn and remember new idioms, your knowledge of their meanings will build over time. I got cold feet when it was time to perform the play. If someone gets cold feet before an activity or event, it means the person is nervous about it and hesitates to go through with it. Then you click the practice to use what you know about idioms, and click the main page because you also need to do the practice on adages and Proverbs. Adages and proverbs offer advice and observations about life. You can build your knowledge of adages and proverbs by asking someone what they mean or by looking them up online. Read these examples of adages and proverbs. Don't judge a book by its cover, which means don't judge something based on its appearance alone. Look before you leap means think about something before rushing into it. Practice makes perfect means doing something over and over again will help you get better at it. Better safe than sorry means take the time to be careful doing something so that there are no bad results. Too many cooks spoil the broth means if too many people do the same job, the job will not be done well. So then click on the practice to try it. Make sure to record your answers on a piece of paper or save them to your computer so you might use your proverbs, adages, or idioms on the discussion later.